All right, before we jump into the Dynamic City option, I did want to go over just a couple of things on the dashboard with you. If I can get to the dashboard. There we go. All right, so you see that I have a few leads here. Most of them are me. Almost all of them are me. One of them is a deranged Packers fan, apparently, that is not super smart. Anyways, you'll notice that that's also a bogus email, which is one of the things that I want to point out is a couple of the tags that we've added here. So with these emails that we're going to be sending out on your behalf now, we do get some reports on which emails bounce, which ones are no good, as well as which ones unsubscribe. So we have bogus email as one tag, which basically just means that the email bounced. So it's not a real email account or it's being refused by the server. You see down here there's a tag that says unsubscribed. So that means that they clicked on the unsubscribe link at the bottom of the email that is sent, which is a requirement per the CAN Spam Act. Or you scrolled over here because they emailed you some hateful letter and you decided to unsubscribe them manually. So you can certainly do that. You also see one of the other options here is must send manual CMA. So what this means is that when they put in this address, there is no automated information available about this address. And this address happens to be my office building, and so it's a commercial building. So we don't get automated values on commercial buildings. So that is going to tell you to send a manual CMA. This address up here, 555 Main Street, Dallas, Texas, doesn't exist, so it's going to tell you to send a manual CMA. If they put in a condo complex and they do not give a unit number, it's going to tell you that you need a manual CMA. All right, there's also some other options here. If you click on the email button right here, this will open your preferred email provider, whatever you have installed on your computer, and it will open up an email so you can send them directly an email. Over here, if you click on map, you are going to get a Google map of exactly where that location is so that you can get an idea of where it is. If you click on the address itself, that is going to open up the property value report page so that you can get an idea of what they've already seen. Or you can send it to them again if they did not receive it for some reason. Lead source, right now, since I've not opened this up to the public, the only one that it shows is sellmyhomeinDallas.com, and that's just because it came from me, and I was already here. It would say Google or Facebook or whatever. You have the date that the lead was added, you have the IP address, and then you have the unsubscribe link. One of the things that you can do up here is change columns, and this takes over or takes off or adds anything that you want or that you don't want. So for me particularly, I don't really care about the IP address, so I can take that off. Any of the other information I want, obviously the phone, the name, and the email address I want on there. Lead source may or may not be important to me, so I can definitely take that off. The unsubscribe link you want on there, the data added you want on there. So that's kind of how I would set up mine because I really don't care about the rest of the information, and this is the information that I care about, and I don't want to have to be scrolling back and forth. You have a couple of options up here to export or print. Unfortunately, we don't have we don't have it set up to be able to export into various different formats for CRMs. So you're kind of going to have to wing that, download it into an Excel spreadsheet, format it the way you need to, and then you'll be able to upload it. So let's now get into, one last thing. So you have these buttons up here. Total leads will give you every single lead that you have. If you have any partial leads, you can click on there and it will only show you partial leads, or click on completed leads and it will only show you complete leads. New leads will show you any leads that have the status of new. So you can definitely click on here, change it to hot, dead, pending, whatever, and now that will not show with that flag on there. So, of course, it's still doing it. But it takes a minute to update, and it will not show that when you click on new. So those are a couple other things. Now let's get into Dynamic City, because this is a function that is really cool. So do you want to use Dynamic City, yes or no? Do you want to use Dynamic City in the copyright, yes or no? So I highly recommend that you use Dynamic City. You don't need Dynamic City in the copyright unless it's required for some odd reason. You need to have a default city set up. So for me, I work the Dallas area. So if somebody comes in from Carrollton or Frisco, but their Dynamic City for whatever reason isn't showing, it'll say Dallas area, because that's something that people can identify with even if they are from Carrollton or from Frisco. Dynamic cities, all you have to do is type in the name of the city. You need to type it in exactly as you would write it down on a letter or whatever. Capitalize the first letter, lowercase the rest. If it's two names like San Francisco, San space Francisco with the capital F, capital S. You can modify the background photo. So if you want to have a separate photo for Carrollton that you do from Frisco, that you do from Richardson, you can certainly do that as you're adding them in. Just click on Choose File when you add the city. If you've already added the cities and now you want to go back and add in new photos, all you got to do is click on Edit. You see Richardson pops up here. I'll click on Choose File, find the photo that I want to use, upload it, and update city. These photos follow the exact same rules as the main background. So preferred size is 1200 by 800. It needs to have what we call a pretty file name, so richardson.png and not Kodak 123-45_23, because that's going to cause errors. So it's got to have a pretty file name and less than 1 megabyte in file size. So another cool thing that we've done with Dynamic City, and I'm going to bounce back to the main page here. So right now it says, what's your Dallas area home worth? I am going to go in there and put in a slash, and I'm going to say Frisco, and hit enter. Now it says, what's your Frisco home worth? So if I wanted to say New York, I need to do an underscore, no, not an underscore, a dash, York. And now it says, what's your New York home worth? This is going to be very popular with those of you who are advertising multiple cities at the same time, because now whatever you put in here is what's going to show up here. So it doesn't depend 100% on Dynamic City. Now what you put into the URL will work. And through our tests so far, we've not found any issues with Facebook giving us problems with this. So we're really excited about that. That should really help advertisers who are looking to advertise to multiple areas. So that is something that's really cool. Something else that you may not have noticed, so like right now I've got what's your New York home worth. But I'm going to put in 6405 North 17th, McAllen. So I'm going to choose that. So remember, we have New York here because we put New York up here. However, once they come up here, whatever they put into their address slot is now considered their Dynamic City. So now it says McAllen. And when they put in their email address, and I'm going to just select one real quick here. Blah. Sometimes you hate autofill stuff. All right, so put in an email address there. And now it says McAllen, McAllen. So it stays up with whatever the Dynamic City controls the first page, but after the first page, it goes based off of the address that they put in. So that's something else that's going to help personalize this and make them much more likely to click through and become a complete lead. So we're really excited to bring you all of this. We've made a lot of changes to this big update. We hope that you appreciate them. If there's any changes that you see, any errors that you find, bugs that you catch, or additional suggestions that you would like to make, please let us know. We're always happy to hear you. We may not be able to implement everything quickly. We may not be able to implement it at all because of technical challenges. However, we definitely like to hear from you. We want to know what it is that you want. We want to know anything that you find so that we can get them fixed, because we want to make this the best product possible for you, for your clients, and for lead generation. And we want to make you successful, because if you're not successful, then we can't be successful. So this is the end of the orientation videos. By now you should have your site set up and ready to start generating leads. And in a future video, we will go over some of the different ways that you can use your site to generate leads, particularly through pay-per-click advertising, because it is one of the fastest ways to generate leads for real estate, and especially with as targeted as Facebook likes to get. But I will get more into detail on that in the Facebook video. So until then, send us your suggestions, send us your complaints, send us your praises, your love of our product. And just like real estate agents, we always accept referrals. So if you know of another agent who would like to use our product, please feel free to share the information with us or with them. And we look forward to helping you out in the Facebook group and in email or chat or whatever it is that you want to, however it is you want to communicate with us. So we will see you then.